Ladies and gentlemen, Rear Admiral Gregory Todd, Deputy Chief of Chaplains, will now offer our invocation.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, in your graciousness, you have given us the great honor and privilege of serving as part of the United States Sea Services. This includes the blessing of serving with shipmates we respect and value, and with whom we get to share this meal. Lord, you have told us to love our neighbor, and sometimes that is to do acts of charity. May you give us vision to see the opportunities for charity all around us. But at other times, Lord, to love our neighbor means to take up the sword to defend our neighbor against the evil that would seek to do them harm. Grant us the wisdom to wield the sword with justice and restraint, always mindful that we are under your gaze. Not by our merits, but because of your goodness, Lord, we are bold to ask for your presence with us today. Bless our food, our time together, the camaraderie we share, and the mission you have called us to. And finally, dear Lord, be with our shipmates who are on duty, underway, or standing the watch. Send your holy angels to protect them in their tasks and grant them a joyful reunion with faithful loved ones who wait for them at home. So into your hands we commend our prayers, trusting in your love and mercy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium the CEO of the Navy League of the United States and 13th Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy, Mr. Mike Stevens.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. All right. On behalf of our National President and Chairman, Mr. Dave Riley, and the members of the Navy League of the United States, we thank you for joining us this year for the Secretary of the Navy Luncheon. It's wonderful to see all of you and our distinguished guests in attendance with us this afternoon. And certainly this event would not be possible without our sponsors. And our sponsors are Better Up, CACI, Fintencari Marine Group, L3 Harris Technologies, Proofprint, Siemens Energy, and Textron Systems. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our very own Secretary of the Navy, the Honorable Carlos del Toro, was sworn in as the 78th Secretary of the Navy on August 9th of 2021. As Secretary, he is responsible for the over 900,000 sailors, Marines, reservists, and civilian personnel, and an annual budget exceeding $210 billion. His priorities include securing the training and equipment successful naval operations demand and addressing the most pressing challenges confronting the United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, China's naval ambitions, climate instability, COVID's ongoing impact, and strengthening a naval culture of inclusiveness and respect. Secretary, sir, we look forward to your remarks this afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I got a little bit nervous when they said the Secretary of the Navy's lunch. I thought I might have to foot the bill for this luncheon. It might cost me at least 2 destroyers or a Columbia. It is a great honor to be here with you today. Good afternoon, Navy League. Thank you for putting together this great conference and for all your advocacy on behalf of our Navy and Marine Corps. My wife, Betty, and I have had the pleasure of being lifelong members of the Navy League for many years now, and we have proudly helped with many a gathering of Navy Leaguers here in Washington, D.C. And of course, I still remember my very first Navy League gathering in Palma de Mallorca, Spain, during my very first deployment on the USS Kelch in the Mediterranean. Through your many programs, you indeed make a huge difference in the lives of our sailors and our Marines every single day. And now, it's my turn to once again step up and make a difference again as your Secretary of the Navy. Next month, I will be on Capitol Hill fighting again to make sure that our warriors have what they need to protect our nation long into the future. And I do hope that next year's speech says he's responsible for at least $230 billion. You can applaud. Chairman Reed was indeed right when he said that the budget should be driven by strategy and not the strategy driven by the budget itself. That's why we've put together a clear strategy to deliver the lethal, resilient, sustainable, survivable, agile, and responsive force called for in the 2022 National Defense Strategy. Our strategy is rooted on three guiding principles. First, to maintain and strengthen our maritime dominance so that we can deter potential adversaries and fight and win if necessary. Second, to empower our sailors and Marines by fostering a culture of warfighting excellence founded on treating each other with dignity and respect. And third, to strengthen our strategic partnerships across the joint force with all of you here in industry and with our international partners around the globe. That is the strategy of the Department of the Navy. It's clear, it's direct, it's concise. Now let me provide some additional details on those three guiding principles. In order to maintain and strengthen our maritime dominance, we have to be serious about fielding and maintaining the right capabilities to win tomorrow's wars. The National Defense Strategy's vision for integrated deterrence requires us to campaign forward from the South China Sea to the Arctic, to the Mediterranean, and to the Gulf. And that's indeed what we are doing. Right now, we are doing just that with 74 ships deployed around the globe, including 4 aircraft carriers and 2 amphibious assault ships. Every one of these ships operates as part of a fully networked, agile, and survivable fleet, capable of delivering coordinated, long-range fires and unmatched lethality from many points at once. That's the power of distributed maritime operations. And that's a noted difference, I'll add, since over 20 years ago when I served in the Navy. It enables our joint force to execute the National Defense Strategy's mandate to, quote, complicate the military preparations of our competitors and enhance our own warfighting capabilities, unquote. I strongly support, let me be clear, I strongly support Admiral Gilday's vision for distributed maritime operations and all aspects of the Navy's navigation plan. That's why our budget invests in more than nimble and survivable platforms that enable our forward presence, capacity, and lethality. We are holding the line on DDG 51 and Virginia with a budget that funds 2 Flight III destroyers and 2 attack submarines per year. We will launch our second century of carrier aviation with the deployment of USS Gerald R. Ford, along with further purchases of the F-35 and the continued development of the MQ-25. And if anybody's wondering, as the current Secretary of the Navy, you can tell them that I fixed the elevators on the Ford. But thank you, Sean Stackley, for all the hard work that you did in the early days. And we will continue progress on future programs like Columbia, the backbone of tomorrow's nuclear deterrent, and Constellation, which will provide greater presence and lethality on the surface. We will also invest in our amphibious fleet, fully funding an additional LHA and additional LPD this year. These warships are vital for the organic mobility and persistence of our Marine Corps, always in high demand as a Swiss Army knife to meet the needs of the joint force. The modern amphibious ready group and Marine Expeditionary Unit are indeed the 911 call for combatant commanders in the most dynamic and volatile situations, from humanitarian disasters to combat. As General Berger put it in his initial planning guidance, I quote, "No matter what the crisis, our civilian leaders should always have one shared thought, send in the Marines," unquote. I am deeply committed and grateful to the Commandant for his committed leadership on Force Design 2030, and I strongly support his plan. Let me be perfectly clear about that. Force Design 2030 will form the expeditionary core of our entire joint force long into the future, so we must fund it. Right now, there are over 30,000 forward deployed Marines operating at sea in over 50 countries around the globe. We must ensure that they are armed, mobile, and ready to fight and win in any climate and place. That's why we're investing in platforms like the CH-53 Kilo, the most powerful helicopter in joint force. The capacity and lift of this aircraft is transforming the organic mobility of units like the new Marine Littoral Regiment and the Indo-Pacific. We will improve our persistence and our lethality in the contested zone through expeditionary advanced basing operations. I saw this concept in action in North Carolina as Marines simulated the seizure of a contested airfield, then landed and refueled a squadron of F-35s from a C-130J in all a matter of minutes. Linking all of these new warfighting capabilities will be a naval operational architecture that we are developing through Project Overmatch. We're deadly serious about planning for the future and meeting the challenges that we can anticipate and those that we cannot. Anyone who tells you that they know the exact number of every platform, of every ship, that will meet the exact needs of the Navy in the 2030s and 2040s must be gifted with second sight. I don't have that. But what I do have is an abiding respect for the American taxpayer of today and tomorrow. And the greatest way that I can demonstrate that is to be clear and transparent about our anticipated needs and the degree of uncertainty in those figures themselves. Because while we can estimate the kinds of adversaries and challenges that we will face perhaps in 5, 10, and 20 years down the road, we cannot be certain. So we must build and prepare in the most powerful and agile force that we can in the most efficient way possible while preserving options for future leaders to adjust to a changing security environment. We have not always done that in our past. I don't want tomorrow's Secretary of the Navy to have to choose between building the right capabilities or maintaining high-cost legacy platforms that don't meet our needs today. I have an abiding respect for the constitutional role of Congress to provide and maintain a Navy. In the end, the power of the purse resides on Capitol Hill. But as we enter this budget season, I will ask Congress to provide the tools that we need to execute the navigation plan and Force Design 2030 without burdening us with unnecessary legacy platforms that cost a lot to maintain and to operate and perhaps don't meet the current threat. Every taxpayer dollar must be maximized to ensure the right mix of capacity, capability, modernization, and readiness for our frontline warriors. Because our greatest asset will always be the sailors and the Marines who wear our uniform and the families who serve by their side. We owe it to them today, tomorrow, to provide them with the best opportunity to succeed in any operational environment under any threat. That's why my second guiding principle is empowering our people by fostering a culture of warfighting excellence. Together, we must continue to creatively recruit, retain, equip, and promote the best that America has to offer. We need a diverse force today, so every child in America can see themselves wearing the uniform tomorrow. That is a national security imperative. In practice, this means we have to take talent management to a higher level, matching the diverse talents of individuals to the needs of the joint force. It means showing leadership through words and example to eliminate sexual harassment and assault from every part of our ranks. And it means taking a deliberate approach to building a leadership cadre that truly represents our nation. As Secretary, I am determined to do everything I can to enable the success of our sailors and our Marines and to take care of their families. I just came back from Europe, where I had the opportunity to visit with many of those sailors and Marines on board the Harry S. Truman and the Arleigh Burke. I was inspired with their morale, their skill, and pride as they conducted NATO allied operations alongside aircraft carriers of both the French and the Italian navies. That pride stands in sharp contrast to what we are observing with the Russian military today. In the face of spirited resistance from the Ukrainian people, aided by our weapons and our support, Vladimir Putin's horrific invasion is grinding to a stalemate in many ways. More ominously for the Putin regime, the bubble of disinformation which encircled the Russian people is bursting and it eventually will crack. The Russian economy is crumbling back to the standards of the 1980s, and Russian troops are turning on their own leadership. Democracy will always, always prove stronger than dictatorship because our people know what they are fighting for. Every sailor and Marine in our force is motivated in some way by the ideals of our nation and the freedom for which our flag stands. For me, naval service was a chance to give back to the nation that welcomed me and my family as refugees from the authoritarian regime of Fidel Castro and other communists. Through decades of service in uniform, private industry, and government, I've strived to live up to my oath to uphold and defend the Constitution. Most of the people in this room have at some point raised their right hand and taken that same oath. It's one of the things that sets our nation apart. We don't swear an oath to a person, a party, or a service. We pledge ourselves to an enduring document rooted in a common commitment to secure the blessings of liberty. It's a document that guarantees so many of the rights we see being trampled today in Moscow and Beijing, from the freedom of speech to the due process of law. And it is those very freedoms that fuel the greatest strengths of our nation. Our economy is protected by laws and standards, so our industrial partners have the confidence and the motivation to innovate and transform the future. Our government is kept accountable by a free press and the freedom of speech, so the American people can trust us with their tax dollars. And our allies and partners are motivated to stand with us in defense of the international rules-based order because they know of our commitment to freedom, liberty, and justice for all. From industry to government to our global alliances, the partnerships that we have built on a foundation of common values represent our greatest advantages against authoritarian regimes. And that's why my third guiding principle is strengthening our strategic partnerships. I spent 17 years as a business owner, attending this very conference for many years, serving the armed forces. So I understand how much we rely upon industrial partnerships to protect our nation. I know the importance of consistent and predictable funding, so those of you in the industrial base can invest in your critical infrastructure and maintain a workforce with the critical skills that you need and sometimes is so hard to find in today's environment. At the Department of Navy, we are committed to engaging with industry, understanding your challenges, and responding to your needs. But we also need our partners to manage costs, to fight requirements creep, and deliver platforms on time and on budget. We owe it to the American people to ensure that each dollar reaches the warfighter in the most efficient and effective way possible. And we owe it to those warfighters and their families to ensure that they are equipped with the most effective platforms and equipment possible. Because I have seen what our people can do with the right tools for the job. The aircraft, the ships, the weapons, and the supplies that you provide are transforming our force and strengthening our alliances in ways that we could hardly have imagined just a decade ago. When I visited Marine Corps Air Station Iwakuni, I saw aviators and crews using the F-35B to strengthen our allied deterrence in the Indo-Pacific, working side by side with our Japanese allies. They can even land on the Japanese ship itself, converted destroyer Izumo. In fact, they have landed on 5 of the 6 international aircraft carriers. And last year, Marine Fighter Attack Squadron 211 deployed aboard Her Majesty's ship Queen Elizabeth, the new flagship of the Royal Navy. For 7 months, our naval aviators operated 10 F-35Bs along 8 others flown by the Royal Air Force. Together they formed the largest 5th-generation air wing on the earth, the centerpiece of a multinational strike group that traversed the globe. Along the way, they operated alongside allies and partners including Australia, France, Israel, Italy, New Zealand, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, and many others. That's a level of allied unity and strength that China and Russia simply cannot ever hope to achieve. Because unlike Moscow and Beijing, we don't treat our allies like client states or satellites. We respect them as partners, as leaders, as friends. We have direct conversations and don't agree on everything. But we all agree on the importance of working together to defend the rules-based international order that protects us all. Each nation has its own capabilities and skills that can act as a force multiplier to protect our mutual interest and deter the aggressions of others. And I'm determined to strengthen these ties even further, leveraging the unique strengths and experiences of every nation, and I spend a lot of time doing this. The National Defense Strategy calls on our force to incorporate ally and partners' perspectives, competencies, and advantages at every stage of defense planning. And like I said, I take that mandate seriously. Our forces are learning together, training together, and operating together from the Indo-Pacific to the Arctic Circle. I saw this in preparations for exercise Cold Response in Norway, which brought together 30,000 troops, 220 aircraft, 50 vessels from 27 countries. This exercise provided a critical opportunity for our forces to operate near the harsh Arctic environment on NATO's northern flank. This exercise also brought home a solemn reminder of the dangers our men and women in uniform face every single day, as 4 proud United States Marines lost their lives when their Osprey crashed in extreme weather. I know I speak for everyone here when I extend my deepest condolences to the families of those fallen warriors and those that also died at Abbey Gate. They died as they lived, serving, preparing, and operating alongside our allies in the cause of freedom. Remember those warriors as you return from this conference. Let their example motivate you in our shared mission of national defense. Bring a sense of urgency to all that you do here today, this week, and always, to equip, to train, to recruit, lead, and support the sailors and Marines who keep watch for us all, because they are counting on us. And as a lifetime Navy Leaguer, I know that we will come through for them. To quote a former Assistant Secretary of the Navy named Franklin Roosevelt, together we simply cannot fail. So thank you for all your support to our sailors and our Marines, and to all who wear the uniform today. Thank you and your families for your service. May God bless all of you. Thank you. Thank you. We're prepared to do some questions and answers. Huh?
Oh, you want to do Q&A?
Yeah, I think we are, aren't we?
Okay.
For a couple of minutes?
Yep. Yes, sir.
I'll take a few. Who's going to be courageous enough to ask the first one? Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Thank you, sir. That was a wonderful address. I appreciate as a small business owner that you yourself have begun, in business as well as served yourself, and now you are who you are, which is wonderful.
Still Carlos.
One of the things I wanted to say, because when I was listening to you speak, you said it's important that we don't continue to overspend on legacy technologies that aren't necessarily working as efficiently as they should. From my perspective as a small business person, and my understanding of what we do sonar. We have designed and developed and engineered and produced countless designs over the history of our business, which started in 1945, right after World War II. During World War II, my grandfather was in charge of designing over 150 different types of transducers under Admiral Fuhrer, because in World War II, they needed to act quickly like you're talking about doing now, where they designed all these focus groups to innovate fast, where the designs met the needs of what the country was looking for. Today, there are so many different design packages that come out, and there's different levels of need to know. And oftentimes, smaller businesses don't have the need to know what you're really trying to achieve. So I wanted to make it clear that a lot of us, probably many people in this room, have technologies and capabilities that are probably being underused. And it's important that when you're looking at advancing a fleet, that it's not done in a way that is limited in terms of, what the current technologies are doing, opposed to what they could possibly become. So I just wanted to ask and make the point that, is there a way that outside of the regular process of SBIRs and industry days and contracts, if there's a way that part of the strategy, the innovation of the industry could be brought into the strategy?
Absolutely, it's a great question, and it takes a team to deal with the issue of coming together and providing a solution to the government, basically on how to fix a particular problem. And I think there are we're looking at a lot of interesting vehicles and and programs to try to help integrate more small businesses, and I'll just give you a quick example of that. So we have actually spawned tech bridges across the nation, for example, and I just visited a tech bridge out in London, for example, where they're doing exactly like that. They're taking the creative ideas of small businesses, they're trying to bring them into the government in many ways, trying to find partnerships with medium-sized businesses, large businesses, so that they can be included basically in coming up with all these great ideas. That's a great question. Thank you very much. And Navilex Tech Bridge, look it up. It's just one small example. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir. I'd like to also thank you for being here today. I am from NAVAIR Office of Small Business Programs. My name is Teresa Bebout, as in Bebout time to increase small business participation.
I love it. Nothing like a good bumper sticker.
And sir, my question for you is, our team tries to train or give tidbits to small businesses so they can become more of our defense base. So having struggled as a small business, is there any nugget of wisdom you wished someone had shared with you when you started your small business?
Absolutely. Persistence. Persistence matters, right? Credibility matters. But you know, the rules that apply to being successful as a small business really aren't any much different than those of a medium or a large business, right? You've got to understand your customer. You got to understand your customer's requirements. You have to find solutions to help fix your customer's requirements, whether it's a large prime or whether it's the government itself or a medium prime. And so it's really important to be persistent and do all the necessary homework to sort of get you to a place where you can become valuable to the government, valuable to that medium-sized business or that prime business, or form a joint venture with other small businesses so that you can provide a valuable solution to fix the government's problems. And it's really that simple, but I know it takes a lot of work to sort of make it happen. But what really drives you to be successful, I think, is persistent, not giving up, recognizing that there's a lot of hard days and a lot of good days as well too. So, but thank you for the role that you play in trying to help other small businesses, medium and large businesses succeed with regards to their work in the federal government's workspace. Yes, sir.
Hi, Captain John Conrad, U.S. Merchant Marine. For 10 years, we were looking for icebreakers, and we kept asking the Coast Guard. The Navy did, everyone else. And then the Navy came in and walked their hand through Congress and helped them. Now, everywhere we go, we have port logistics problems, sea lift problems, and everything else, and it gets pushed to MARAD, but MARAD's been underfunded, and they're about to be tasked with tackling the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill. They don't have the resources to handle the sea lift themselves. Can the Navy step in and do more to help MARAD and help MSC get our sea lift capability up? Thank you, sir.
This is an important issue, and the MSC is critically important, as well as our collaboration and cooperation with the Coast Guard. And I'll tell you that in the last 17 years since I was in the Navy, we're collaborating with the Coast Guard far more than I've ever seen. I don't know if the Commandant of the Coast Guard is around, but he's in my office every other month. But we do need to do a better job in coordinating with the Maritime Sea Lift Command to solve some of those challenging problems. And look, logistics, it's often the last thing that's looked at, but when you look at the challenge that the Russians are having in Ukraine right now, it makes you think that logistics might be some of the first things that you're looking at, right? And so we've got to fix this. The Pacific is a very large ocean. We have real logistical issues there. MSC is an important partner in that, and we have to come up with better solutions. And so I promise you that in POM 24 and 25 and 26, I'm going to be looking very much closer at this problem than before.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
My name is Captain Menon with Reliance Bulk Carriers, and you mentioned something which came to our point, legacy systems. We are addressing a problem you have now with you have the fleet of ships in the ready reserves. They are over 50 years old. They are running on steam engines, and they're incapable of acting when they need it. Same thing with MSP ships. Some of the ships are built in China. They're very outdated, and there is a program now to buy more outdated ships. We have created a new design which can totally solve this problem. But unfortunately, being a small business, we would like a 10-minute meeting with you because it has to be a top-down approach. Everywhere else, the bureaucracy is set in their ways. We have to have a top-down approach. I would request a 10-minute meeting with you any time of the day.
I love this guy. Where's my Colonel? Colonel, where are you? Where are you, Colonel? You see her right there? Go see her and give her your business card.
All right.
You may be the luckiest man on earth.
Okay, thank you, sir. Full ahead.
Now, it better be a good design, and the PowerPoint better not be more than 10 pages.
I promise you that.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. My name's Mike Mann. I'm a ship driver. You spoke very forcefully in support of the Commandant's Force Design, Expeditionary Advanced Base Operations, but you didn't mention anything about these light amphibious warships, and it's a big question mark in the current budget. Can you tell us where you stand on the law?
Yeah, I wish the design for the law were much further along than it is today, and that's sort of the environment that I came into. So there were a lot of questions being asked about the law and large deck amphibious ships as well too, which is why I basically commissioned a short study, a very short study through the present here, and it's getting ready to be rolled out to take a look at this very difficult issue so that we can try to figure out exactly what the right capabilities of the law needs to be. But I'm deeply committed to the law. I just want to make sure that it has the right balance between the operational requirements that it needs and the survivability that it needs as well too to be able to operate effectively, and then match it to the right balance of large depth amphibs that our country also needs well into the future. So that's what I'm trying to do, and I hope to accomplish that here in this current fiscal year, basically, to get us to a better place. You know, I often, you've got to learn from the mistakes of the past. And too often we're rushed to decisions and acquisition. And sometimes we're just rushed for political reasons more than anything else. Or just, you know, being rushed because we got to get the PowerPoint presentation out to senior leadership. But we shouldn't be rushed on these decisions. They need to be carefully thought out, carefully considered, if we're going to avoid making, you know, the mistakes that we made in the past with regards to certain platforms of ships that were politically rushed to the table, basically, and now 20 years later we're kind of suffering the consequences of those actions. So stand by. There's more to come about, but we're going to get this right, I think, this fiscal year.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, good afternoon, SecNav. Don Klein, former P3 guy. I've got a question for you about where we are with regards to reconstituting our ability to do battle damage repair forward, particularly in Western Pacific. Aircraft, ships, and last but not least, our people. All three of those are going to need a lot of care forward in the anticipation of potential high-end combat with the casualties and damage we haven't seen since World War II. Could you speak a little bit to how we're trying to reconstitute that?
I think that's a great point. It's not an area that I have focused on tremendously in the 8 months that I've been Secretary of the Navy. However, I do know that the Vice CNO has been deeply engaged on this area. So if you'll give the Colonel your card, I'd be happy to get back to you with more of a recent update on where we are with the analysis with regards to battle damage assessment. Obviously, you know, we're paying close attention to what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, obviously. We know that the Ukrainians were potentially successful in attacking one of their LSTs. And so, you know, we want to look at all those issues basically as we look forward and make the right assessments in terms of what we got to invest in and do to protect our own ships, which is critically important to our Navy, not necessarily to the navies of other countries necessarily.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay, is that it? Boy, 2 minutes and 33.
I got one for you, sir.
Oh, there you are. Sorry.
Mr. Secretary, good afternoon. Go Navy, beat Army.
I love it. You know,
Dave Archizell.
You know, before you ask your question, I got to say there are many responsibilities, you know, that the Secretary of the Navy, you know, has when you come into office. But boy, winning your first Army-Navy game is definitely one of those. And we did it. And by the way, I have no control over the outcome either, hardly any control over it. But
Sir, I have a concern, but I wonder how you would address. You mentioned next month you'll be in the hearing sessions, and I wonder how you'd answer the question that comes along the lines of, we have the Navy of today, the Navy and Marine Corps and Coast Guard of tomorrow. How are you going to address that if the panel of questions come from the HASS, the SAS, et cetera, that say, look, you decommissioned more ships than you built last year. How are you growing our Navy?
yeah, we're increasing their capability and their lethality in ways that we haven't. You know, it just doesn't do me good to have lots and lots of ships that aren't effective against the actual threat itself. And so I'm more focused on those threats that are highest, that I've got to address in the Pacific and other places around the world, and what capability can I put to bear on them so that we can actually accomplish our mission. That's far more significant to me than anything else. I always say capacity matters as well too. It's a combination of the right capacity, the right capability to deliver the right lethality where we need it. And so I'm quite comfortable with that response.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. All right. Is that it? Excellent. 54 seconds. Oh, one more? Is this another hearing preps question?
No, no hearing question, and no business card, or I won't talk to the colonel. My name is Tom Sass, and as I've been listening today and looking at, the previews of what the topics were going to be, we heard a lot about this thing of the future, or the thing of now that has to get ready before, and do the future as we go double time. But the conversation that I haven't heard is anything about unmanned systems. Can you tell me briefly what you envision of when, right? Knowing you got to get Columbia done first, and then we'll get air in the room again?
We're already there. I mean, we're making major investments in our unmanned systems. I mean, in the air and the subsurface and on the surface as well too. There's not going to be one exact date where we just all of a sudden wake up and say, oh, now we're investing in unmanned systems. We've been investing in them for 20 years, actually, particularly in drone technology and such. And we've been investing them in the undersea as well too. And the surface is where we're sort of making far more greater investments here recently. And the work that's been done actually in the Gulf here recently with Task Force 278 is nothing short of spectacular. And we're going to continue to invest in unmanned systems. We have to develop the right concept of operations to be able to operate those systems with our manned ships and platforms across the board. We've got MQ-25, which is going to be transforming, in many ways, carrier aviation as well too, and extending those ranges in which we can operate those aircraft. I'm extremely excited about unmanned, and forgive me for not having included it in my speech necessarily. Probably a lot of other things I didn't include in the speech as well, but it was no oversight. It's going to be a major, major investment that we're going to continue to make in every possible way. It is very much critical to the future of our fleet operations in every possible manner, in every domain, no doubt about it. And I've actually spent a lot of time in my first 8 months visiting and seeing the technologies that are being developed so that we can make even more investments in POM 24, 25, and 26. So thank you for that question, for highlighting that, very much so. Okay, I'm down to 0 now. So, take it over.
Secretary Del Toro, Navy League National President Dave Riley, Navy League CEO and MCPON Mike Stevens, and Vice President for Client Relations at LMI, Sinclair Harris, will now take the stage to present the Fleet Admiral Chester W. Nimitz Award. The Fleet Admiral Chester W. Nimitz Award is presented to Miss Jo Decker in recognition for her commitment, steadfast dedication, and devotion to duty in support of the nation's safety and security as a leader in the defense industry. Ms. Jo Decker has dedicated more than 30 years of her life to innovative and sustained leadership, both as a government civil servant and an industry leader. Dedicating her life to strengthening the sea services, she has made innumerable contributions as a government and private sector leader to increase our nation's maritime strength and enhance our national security. Her efforts have ensured that the U.S. Navy is ready and capable to win the fight today and tomorrow. As one of the first female pioneers in the naval intelligence community, and in subsequently more senior executive positions in the Navy, General Dynamics IT, and at BAE Systems, Decker understands the challenges women face in the military and corporate environment. As the Principal Deputy, Office of the Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Financial Management and Comptroller, she demonstrated exceptional skill and resourcefulness in preserving the national security interests of our country while providing warfighters the capabilities to meet mission requirements. She developed the Integrated Program and Budget Submission for the Navy and Marine Corps under Title X. Through her keen foresight and expert analysis, she recognized and mitigated national security risks from the international acquisition of more than 200 Gulf of Mexico oil lease blocks and a foreign entity's active construction of wind farms near a critical aircraft training range utilized by DoD components. Through Decker's determination, the end results were the signing of a national security agreement between the DoD and the foreign company with approved monitoring and mitigation plans, and a presidential memorandum blocking development of concerned wind farms. As a testament to her leadership and analytic prowess, she reinvigorated the Navy's readiness assessment of the $176 billion future year defense plan, ensuring the prioritization, planning, budgeting, and execution of warfighting requirements met DoD needs. As the director of the Office of Program and Process Assessment, Decker was the principal staff assistant to the Secretary of the Navy for assessing all processes that support the execution of SecNav responsibilities. She advised the SecNav regarding the continuity, efficacy, and coherence of all programs and activities, including but not limited to those reported under the Secretary's management review process. As the Assistant Deputy of the Chief of Naval Operations for Integration, Capabilities, and Resources, Decker was the principal civilian advisor to CNO, VCNO, and N8, N9 for the Navy's resources and planning, programming, budgeting, and execution system. For more than 3 decades, Ms. Decker has mentored innumerable individuals, from those starting their careers to high-ranking admirals transitioning to the private sector. She has particularly focused on mentoring young women in every environment, believing they provide an important and essential diversity of thought in the workplace. She has continued to provide leadership in driving solutions to critical technology challenges in the national security and public safety environment. She is a proven leader and dedicated to strengthening our Navy. Decker's service reflects great credit upon her and is in keeping with the highest traditions of the Sea Services and the Navy League of the United States. Signed, David J. Riley, National President, Navy League of the United States. The Albert A. Mickelson Award honors a civilian scientist, technical innovator, or technical organization for scientific or technical achievement that results in a significant improvement in the strength of our maritime forces or to the enhancement of our industrial technology base that was exhibited by the award's namesake, Albert A. Mickelson. The Navy League of the United States is honored to present the Albert A. Mickelson Award for Exceptional Leadership to Mr. Richard Jenkins for his exceptional dedication and achievement in the world of scientific research and technological innovation in significantly improving the strength of the Navy and the Sea Services. Richard Jenkins, founder and CEO of Squadron, relentlessly strives to change the way the Sea Services interact with and understand our world's ocean, from climate to security, developing new technological innovations within his company that further autonomous maritime capabilities. While working as CEO of Proteus Speed, Jenkins developed his future company's core technology during a 10-year period, driven by a goal to break the world land speed record for wind-powered vehicles. He ultimately achieved that record on March 26, 2009, setting a speed of 126.2 miles per hour on a dry lake bed in Nevada. He later moved to San Francisco and continued his legacy of innovation and world-first accomplishments in the ocean, applying the same now-patented wing technology to an uncrewed wind-powered sailing vehicle, which would later become the Squadron. Since the company's first mission in the Arctic in 2015, Squadron has worked tirelessly to accurately measure climate quality data from Earth's most remote oceans and deliver that data to scientists all over the world. In 2020, the company successfully completed a demonstration of maritime domain awareness capabilities for the U.S. Coast Guard, which led to the development of the 33-foot Squadron Voyager, specifically designed to meet the challenges of IUU, ISR, law enforcement and maritime safety, drug interdiction, border and harbor security, and ecosystem monitoring missions. Having established Squadron vehicles as the most capable and proven USVs available, Jenkins expanded the technology to address new market needs, including life cycle solutions for offshore wind farms and ocean mapping. In September 2021, in another world first, Jenkins successfully sent a 23-foot sail drone explorer into the eye of a Category 4 hurricane in the Atlantic Ocean, taking scientific measurements and HD video that could transform our understanding of hurricane forecasting. The accomplishment demonstrated beyond doubt the resiliency of the sail drone platform in the most extreme ocean environments on the planet. Jenkins' dedication, research, leadership, and innovation continue to strengthen the Sea Service and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the Sea Services and the Navy League of the United States. Signed, David J. Riley, National President, Navy League of the United States. Our 2021 Admiral Vern Clark Safety Award for a Navy unit is presented to Helicopter Training Squadron 28. Accepting on behalf of the Helicopter Training Squadron 28 is Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Kellner, Commanding Officer. Helicopter Training Squadron 28 is an advanced helicopter training squadron that imbues professionalism, integrity, and sound judgment in the instruction and development of student naval aviators. Through the application of operational risk management and strict adherence to sound policy and procedures, HT-28 safely flew over 20,000 hours of dynamic flying, culminating in 6,443 student flight evolutions. This ultimately resulted in 165 naval aviation students earning their wings of gold. HT-28's success is rooted in a comprehensive and effective safety program that contributed to a robust safety culture within the student and instructor cadre alike. The application of the Aviation Safety Awareness Program is one to be emulated, as HT-28 led all other rotary ring squadrons by submitting 6,967 ASAP reports. These reports were actionable accounts that were shared with sister squadrons and leadership that spanned a host of hazards to include air traffic control, bird hazards, weather information, and flight gear anomalies. HT-28's multifaceted program also showcased other innovative means to inculcate safety into the command culture. These included a viable AnyMouse program, Safety Pro recognition, robust operational risk management and crew resource management training adherence, and instructor pilot confessionals. These established programs, coupled with sound scheduling and safety risk management, were instrumental in HT-28 achieving an impeccable record of 0 Class A or B mishaps, while overcoming COVID ramifications, instructor pilot deficits, and contract maintenance shortfalls. The collective professionalism, integrity, and sound judgment of HT-28 is emblematic of an organization with a strong safety culture that facilitated the team's success. Their concerted effort to ensure every evolution is guided by sound principles has facilitated their ability to successfully and safely accomplish their task of balancing mission first with a people always mindset. HT-28's innovative actions and dedication to the Navy mission with sustained commitment to stellar safety performance and achievement clearly demonstrates their excellence in mitigating risks, successfully eliminating preventable mishaps among sailors, Marines, and civilians within the Department of the Navy, and enhancing the readiness of the naval forces. Presented this 5th day of April 2022. Signed, the Honorable Carlos del Toro, Secretary of the Navy. Our 2021 Admiral Vern Clark Safety Award for a Navy individual is presented to Naval Air Crewman, Mechanical First Class, Carlos M. Gomez. AWF-1 Gomez is a consummate professional whose leadership, ingenuity, and unwavering commitment to safety significantly contributed to improved operational readiness at VRM-30, which had an infectious quality that spread throughout the fleet logistics multi-mission community. AWF-1 Gomez is an exemplary safety professional in all respects, and his knowledge, engagement, and supervision of the command safety program has had immeasurable results. He personally completed over 700 equipment inspections, maintaining the safe working conditions of essential ground safety infrastructure to include automated external defibrillators, portable fire extinguishers, and emergency eyewash stations. He spearheaded the use and implementation of the Aviation Safety Awareness Program that facilitated the identification of supply deficiencies, flight anomalies, and related hazards. He further took the initiative to manage the safety training for over 250 personnel by tracking all occupational health physicals, general military training, command indoctrination, and specialty requirements in the Enterprise Safety Application Management System. His experience and expertise were evident as an operational risk management instructor, where he personally taught 11 risk management courses, resulting in 100% pilot and aircrew readiness. A testament to AWF-1 Gomez's knowledge and leadership was displayed in his ability to lead the enlisted safety councils and proactively address hazards and implement necessary controls. These efforts, coupled with his dedication and performance, positively impacted the safety culture of the VRM-30 Titans. AWF-1 Gomez's creativity, resourcefulness, and boundless enthusiasm are hallmark traits of his work ethic that measurably improved the VRM-30 and fleet logistics multi-mission community effectiveness through integration of safety and risk management principles in naval operations. AWF-1 Gomez is an indispensable member of the Navy's safety community, and his devotion to duty is in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Navy and the United States Sea Services. Presented this 5th day of April 2022. Signed, the Honorable Carlos del Toro, Secretary of the Navy. Our General James L. Jones Safety Award is intended to stimulate safety through ideas, suggestions, and programs that reduce mishaps, injuries, and fatalities within the Department of the Navy by providing special recognition to those who best exemplify and advance a culture of safety. For their outstanding work to advance safety in the United States Marine Corps, the 2021 General James L. Jones Safety Award for a Marine Corps unit is presented to 1st Radio Battalion, 1st Marine Expeditionary Force. Accepting this award on behalf of the unit are Lieutenant Colonel Benjamin Heredia and 1st Lieutenant Spencer Darvin. The 1st Radio Battalion establishes, operates, and maintains intelligence information architecture to enable and provide signals intelligence, electronic warfare, and computer network exploitation capabilities to the Marine Air Ground Task Force and Joint Forces Commander. In 2021, 1st Radio Battalion employed a myriad of tools and innovative programs to establish a well-rounded Marine Corps safety management system to mitigate risk and inculcate a culture of safety throughout the command. This led to the successful deployment of 9 officers and 154 enlisted personnel in support of multiple missions throughout 2 combatant commands. This was coupled with a demonstrated commitment to safety and risk management by maintaining multiple subordinate safety programs that serviced 47 officers and 529 enlisted Marines and sailors on the safe use and handling of Class 3B lasers, radioactive materials, non-ionizing radiation, and on- and off-duty motor vehicle safety. Battalion leadership consistently incorporated risk management and deliberate planning to exercises, leading to 2 mishap-free battalion field exercises and support to multiple external units. As a testament to the sound 1st Radio Battalion safety program, when inspected by the commanding general, it was noted that the program excelled, with 0 findings and 1 minor discrepancy. 1st Radio Battalion's ubiquitous safety culture led to 0 Class A or B mishaps and to an overall 33% reduction of reportable mishaps over the past 3 years. The 1st Radio Battalion's innovative actions and dedication to the Marine Corps mission, with sustained commitment to stellar safety performance and achievement, clearly demonstrates their excellence in mitigating risks, successfully eliminating preventable mishaps among Marines, sailors, and civilians within the Department of the Navy, and enhancing the readiness of the naval forces. Presented this 5th day of April 2022. Signed, the Honorable Carlos del Toro, Secretary of the Navy. Our last safety award is the General James L. Jones Safety Award for a Marine Corps individual. This year's winner is Mr. Benjamin Lebidine. Mr. Benjamin Lebidine is a consummate professional whose hard work, innovation, and unwavering commitment to safety significantly contributed to improved operational readiness by his leadership, attitude, and infectious passion for preserving life. As the high-risk training safety officer, Mr. Lebidine led and managed a broad spectrum of courses to train and qualify reconnaissance Marines in basic and advanced skills. In an effort to adequately prepare students for this course of instruction, Mr. Lebidine conducted 1,624 hours of demanding high-risk aquatic and individual land navigation training for 681 Marines, sailors, and international military students during the conduct of 8 course cycles. His expertise and assertive management of the Reconnaissance Training Company high-risk training of 1,390 students resulted in 0 Class A or B mishaps. In an effort to continuously improve, Mr. Lebidine researched and led the testing of a global satellite micro-tracking device during a land navigation performance examination to facilitate improved student accountability. His innovative efforts led to the acquisition of 120 global satellite devices, greatly improving the fidelity of training and modernizing the land navigation safety structure. In addition, he personally has invested countless hours meticulously investigating 7 mishaps and 3 near-miss evolutions. Based on his observations and experience from these mishaps, he developed 36 formal recommendations, which were incorporated into the training standards, curriculum, and risk assessment documents to mitigate training-related hazards. Mr. Lebidine consistently goes above and beyond the scope of his responsibilities in the interest of safety, as noted by his lead role of analyzing curriculum methods, instructional techniques, after-action reports, mishap and near-miss data, student medical screening processes, and instructor qualifications. His exposure to these aspects of the Reconnaissance Training Company operations has positively impacted their ability to train, mentor, and qualify operating forces capable of performing reconnaissance-related missions. Mr. Lebidine's attitude, resourcefulness, and boundless enthusiasm are hallmark traits of his work ethic that measurably improve the effectiveness of the Reconnaissance Training Company. Mr. Lebidine is an indispensable member of the Marine Corps safety community, and his devotion to duty is in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Marine Corps and the United States Sea Services. Signed, the Honorable Carlos del Toro, Secretary of the Navy. Our last award of this program is the Secretary of the Navy's Distinguished Public Service Award. This honor is presented to Mr. William A. Stevenson III, past National President of the Navy League of the United States. For distinguished service as the National President of the Navy League in recognition of the exceptional contributions made to the United States Navy from June 2019 to June 2021. During his tenure, Mr. Stevenson was a dynamic force in the Department of the Navy's efforts to improve readiness, more efficiently utilize resources, and ensure that America's sailors and Marines enjoy the quality of life they deserve. Mr. Stevenson led the monumental effort to renovate the Navy League's long-standing bylaws, most notably reducing the number of board members from over 200 to 37 members. This accomplishment greatly streamlined organizational governance, increasing the Navy League's ability to act swiftly when addressing the challenges faced by U.S. Sea Services. Under his guidance, the organization voted to approve the historical change of allowing membership eligibility for active duty service members of all branches, providing uniformed members with the opportunity to become participants of the Navy League. On his watch, the Navy League conducted over 120 congressional office calls, advocating for the resources necessary for the Navy to execute its mission. Mr. William A. Stevenson's superb leadership, initiative, outstanding achievements, and total devotion to duty reflected great credit upon him and were in keeping with the highest traditions of the Department of the Navy. Signed, the Honorable Carlos del Toro, Secretary of the Navy. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain in your seats until the Secretary has departed the luncheon. To conclude today's program, please welcome once again Navy League CEO Mike Stevens.
Yeah, short and sweet. We all hope you have time to explore the rest of the show. We thank you for being here for this luncheon, and we hope you're having a great time. Thank you, and enjoy.